So my name is Jeff Sykes. I work here as the Director of WebOps here at VML. And so my talk today is about marketing the value of WebOps. So I work at a marketing company, and one of the things you have to do is you have to market back what you're doing to the organization. So intuitively, we sort of know that DevOps is good stuff, right? And it's better than a lot of the older approaches. And the problem that we run into is trying to find ways to take what we intuitively know and intuitively grasp and then express those in ways that other folks can understand. Organizations tend to want to know about the value that using various approaches will bring to the organizations. And so what we're trying to do is figure out how to bridge that gap between, what we intuitively understand, that this is a better approach, and then what the organization needs to understand so that it can make the change that you're doing. Because at the end of it, you know that what we're really trying to do is an organizational change, and that takes work. So one of the ways that I've found that does a pretty good job about marketing what we're doing here in terms of DevOps approaches is using math to talk about how much would it cost to replicate a DevOps approach with traditional work. So the general approach is, if we do no DevOps, how many hours does it take? How many times would we do something with the DevOps execution, times however much it costs for someone to do that work? That gives you a total. And then we also look at the DevOps approach, where it's looking at the hours versus the roles. So don't forget time. That's one of the factors that we'll talk about a little bit more, is just that in addition to the actual cost, hard costs associated with it, you have to think about how much time you can save doing that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go through two cases. The first is a problem. We had a long set of time for local development environments. The team in question was working on Oracle Web Center sites, which is a giant pile of flaming poo, and it took forever to set up the environments. So what we ended up looking at was, first of all, we were doing this without Vagrant. It took about 40 hours to set up an OWCS environment and get everything working the way it was supposed to. Each time a dev had to do that for a new branch, so we had 7 devs times that. You look at that, 1,400 hours, this dev rate is just made up, but then you get about that cost. Now, if we use Vagrant, it took us about 40 hours for one of the guys on my team to do this work. We took the time that it took a developer to set up their environment down to an hour. And so then if you look at that, I mean, it's pretty simple math to figure that out. So able to look at a hard number here for how much we save, plus 35 weeks of dev time, because they didn't spend weeks setting up new development environments that no one wanted to look at. Okay. So the second problem is we had frequent complicated software releases. This was for another client, and lots and lots of deployments and synchronization of S2 SVN servers and both code and content that we were moving around. So in that case, we did 4,767 deploys, synced SVN 5,196 times. We did 215 content packages. So we looked at about how many hours it would take to do that, and then again, just ballpark numbers here. So then, using DevOps methodologies, we worked together with developers and people on my team, and we came up with different solutions for this that we used Jenkins to automate all these tasks. We're going to look at exactly how much it costs us to send up the automation. And then if you look at the differences there, the numbers are pretty amazing. You can also do faster time to market, and then the sanity of the deployment team, because nobody's going to deploy 4,767 times, right? That's soul crushing. So a couple lessons. I think cost comparisons are really easy to sell. Someone may dispute some of the assumptions that are underlying what you're doing, but it makes it pretty stark to get to why this is a good option for us. I think the other one is that you should show your work. I mean, the simple math that I was doing there, I'm not like a super math genius, but showing the math work, even if someone disputes your assumptions, everything is super simple to look at and say, well, that's a dumb assumption, you shouldn't have done that, and you can argue about those kinds of assumptions rather than whether or not it's a good idea. Also, don't forget your soft costs, don't forget time, don't forget the cost of doing errors and team morale for doing those kinds of approaches. And then finally, is to make sure that you emphasize the other advantages of your DevOps approach in terms of increased reliability, how much faster you can go, and then the compounding advantages that happen. Because the first time, obviously, you set up the automation, it takes a lot longer. Next time, a lot faster. And so then the advantages get better. And that's it.